Okay, so on this paper, we see the word transformations. You have already learned some of this in middle school. We're going to learn how to transform points and figures on a coordinate plane. So reflections, we're remembering the word flip. It is a flip of a figure. And then this is just like a little formula chart on how to do that with your x and y coordinates. Then we have rotation. Rotation is a turn. Okay, and then this is showing us, depending on how many degrees we're turning it, what we do with our x and y coordinate. Translation is a slide. So you're going to shift A horizontally. That is for the x coordinate, and then B is vertically for the y coordinate. Okay, and we're going to, of course, go in and do examples of this, so you don't have to memorize all this. And then dilations is a resizing of the figure. So you're either enlarging it or shrinking it, making it smaller. And we use multiplication for that one, okay? So again, this is just a little reference chart for you to understand what each of them mean. So now we're going to look at our booklet that we're going to start. We're not finishing this today because it's a lot of stuff. So you're going to open it up. You should have translations first, okay? A translation moves every point of a figure the same direction in the same distance, okay? So it can be described by the mapping notation x plus a, y plus b. It shifts a horizontally and b vertically. Okay, so down here's an example of what we're even doing, because some of you might think, what is she even saying? Okay, so quadrilateral ABC has vertices -1, 8, 2, 12, 5, 8, and -1, -2. So these are the points A, B, C, and D, and they're giving me the coordinates for each of those. So this would be my pre-image, because that's what I'm starting with. So over here we're going to write X, Y, and then under that we're going to write these original coordinates, which are -1, 8, 2, 12, 5, 8, -1, -2. Okay, so again, all I'm doing is I'm getting that from what I just read up here. No. Okay, so then it says, and its image has a translation x plus 12, y minus 5. What are the new coordinates of A, B, C, and D? So where it says translate, we're going to write this little formula down here into that spot. So we have x plus 12, y minus 5. Okay, so all you're going to do here is you're going to go through each of the x coordinates and you're going to add 12, and then you're going to go through each of the y coordinates and you're going to subtract 5. Okay? So -1, I'm going to start with -1 plus 12 would be what number? -1 plus 12. 11. Good. All right, so my first point is going to be 11. And then for the y, I'm going to subtract 5. So what's 8 minus 5? 3. Good. So that completes my first point. Okay? So all you're doing is you're going to do whatever to the x it's telling you to, and then whatever to the y. So the next x coordinate is 2. So what's 2 plus 12? 2 plus 12. Okay.
Hi, Ms. Anarshi. Can you please send me something up to the office for a moment?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Then we have y, which is 12, and I'm going to subtract 5. What's 12 minus 5? 12 minus 5. 7. Good. All right. Okay, so then I'm going to come down to this point, which is 5, 8. 5 plus 12 is 17, and 8 minus 5 is 3. Okay, last one, I have -1 plus 12, 11, and then I have -2 minus 5. -2 minus 5. -7. Okay, so once you do that, you would then probably plot it into a graph, but this one is just going over the steps of how to do it. So again, whatever it's telling you to do here, you're just taking each point and doing that to each point. So does everyone have this right here down? Okay, so same thing on example 2. It's giving me a quadrilateral ABCD, and it's giving me the vertices here, and then it's telling me to translate it based on this right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write my X and my Y, and then I'm going to input my points, which are -1, 2, -1, 5, 4, 6, and 4, 2. Okay, so how am I translating the X? What is it telling me to do? At the top, what is it telling me to do?
X plus 3.
Thank you. X plus 3. Good. So we're going to do X plus 3, and then what are we doing to the Y? -1. Good. Okay, so all you're doing is you're going through and you're either adding or subtracting based on what it's telling you to do. So the first X coordinate is -1, so I need to add 3 to that. So -1 plus 3
2.
is 2. And then I'm going to take the Y and I'm going to subtract 1. So what is 2 minus 1?
1.
Good, okay. Then I have -1 and I'm going to add 3 to that. Again, would be what?
2.
2. And then I have 5 minus 1, which is 4. Good, okay. 4 plus 3 and 6 minus 1. 4 plus 3 again, and 2 minus 1. 1. Very good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually graph that into the coordinate grid. So I'm going to graph my first figure, which is the original points that I started with. So -1, 2. So I'm going to go to -1 and up to +2. That is point A. Then I'm going to go back to -1 and I'm going to go up to +5. My next point is 4, 6, so I'm going to go to 4 and I'm going to go up to 6. Point C, and then point D is going to be 4, 2. Okay, so once I have all of these points in my grid, I'm going to do what with my points?
Connect them.
Very good, yes. Okay, so that's quadrilateral ABCD. Once you have that, now we're going to plot the translation so that you can see how it slides. So my next set of points are 2, +1. So if you don't have this down, make sure you get it because I'm going to start adding new points right now. So I have 2, +1, which again is point A. Then I have 2, +4, which is point B. Then I have point C, 7, 5. 7 over 7 at 5. And then I have D, which is 7, 1. Okay, so once you have that, you're going to connect your points. So it shows it should be the exact same congruent figure, it's just moved over. Okay, all right. So I'm moving down to the bottom example. It says to graph, same thing, graph the quadrilateral. It's giving me points and it's giving me what to do with it, with the translation. So point A is, what are the coordinates for point A?
4,
Point B.
3 negative 1,
Point C.
0, 3,
Point D.
negative 4, 1,
Okay, very good. All right, so we're going to translate X, what?
x plus 2
And Y,
minus 2.
Y minus 2. Very good. Okay, so again, you're going to go through, you're going to add to the X, and you're going to subtract the Y. So what is this X1 plus 2? Okay, then we have Y negative 2 minus 2.
4,
Negative 4, right? Okay. 3 plus 2.
5,
5. And negative 1 minus 2. Negative 3. Very good. Okay. 0 plus 2.
2,
3 minus 2.
1,
Good. And then negative 4 plus 2.
2,
Negative 2. And then 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Okay, so what you're going to do right now is you're going to put these points into the grid. You're going to plot them, connect the points just like we did on the first example up here. So go ahead and do that right now. Don't forget to label with A, B, C, and D. Okay, so we have A1 is over here, and then negative 2 is down here. So that's point A. Okay. Then we have 3, negative 1, so 3, negative 1 over here. That's point B. Then we have 0, 3. So 0 and then up to 3, which is point C. And then negative 4, which is over here. And then you're going to go up to the 1. So negative 4 and then up to the 1. And that should be. Okay, so you should have your two figures plotted here.
This looks weird. Look at this.
Yes, I believe so. Okay, so let's check it out. So we got 1, negative 2, which is here. That is point A. Point B is 3, negative 1. C is 0, 3. And then D is negative 4, 1. So yes, it's kind of a weird figure, but it still has 4 sides. So it's still considered a quadrilateral. Okay, so you have your first figure plotted there. And then your second one is going to be 3, negative 4. Point A. Point B is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 3. Point C is 2, 1. And point D is negative 2, negative 1. Okay, so that's how your figure should look. Again, it's the same figure, it's just sliding down a little bit. Okay, so we should have all of our notes for translations here. So now we're looking at reflections. Okay, a reflection is a transformation that uses a line like a mirror to reflect an image. So when you're thinking of reflections, you're thinking of a mirror image. Okay? So if x and y is reflected in the x-axis, its image is the point x, -1. So first of all, we have to identify what these points are. What is the point of point T right here? Okay, so -1, 2. Then we have point T is what coordinates?
Three to the 8, 1, 2, right?
I mean point R, sorry.
Oh.
3, 4.
Okay, and then point Y.
2, 2.
Okay, so since we are reflecting over the x-axis, we are only going to change what the y-coordinate is. So when we reflect over the x-axis, the only thing that changes is the y, and you're going to do the inverse or the opposite of that. So the x-coordinate stays the same. So this is going to stay -1, but we're going to flip the 2 into what? -2. Good. Okay? And then 3 stays the same, 4 turns into
-4.
-4, and then 2 stays the same, and 2 is now
-2.
-2. All right, so you are now plotting these points into your graph. Okay, and the way you're going to connect those is you're going to make a triangle, just like the one we see at the top. So it should be a direct mirror image of the top figure.
No. Oh, yeah, good.
All right, so we should have connected our points, made our new triangle. We're going to look at how to reflect over the y-axis. Okay, so this is going to be different because now we're referring to the y-axis. Okay, so this is what we're going to do to each point. First of all, I need to identify my point. So what is the point of T here? What is the coordinates?
2.
Okay, point R.
3, 4.
Okay, and point Y.
2, 2.
All right, so this is what I'm going to write under this second column. So the X is now going to be flipped and the Y is going to stay the same here. So what would be the inverse of -1?
1.
Yes, and then the Y stays the same, so 2 stays the same. What is the inverse of +3? -3, right? And then 4 stays the same. And then what about +2? -2, 2. All right. Okay, go ahead and graph those. Same thing. -2, -3, 4, and -2, 2. Okay, so it should run into each other, the two images. So again, you're just flipping it over the y-axis on this example.
or does now?
Do what?
You gonna give us back that in?
I don't know what happens to the computer.
Which is it?